Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. We are now down to the quarterfinals, the round of 8, and this is, of course, the Champions Club, 43rd time. Just a friendly cup hosted by ESL purely for bragging rights. If you're not competing, why not? Have some fun with it, or, of course, stay with us and watch the games being played. So we are into the very first of the round of 8 games. Let me jump over to this Champion Select screen. We have Omega Gaming coming up against CLANSEARCH. We just caught the last 10 minutes of CLANSEARCH versus Thermaltake, and they managed to take out Thermaltake in the previous round. CLANSEARCH are on the right-hand side with that Marcelio Diafimi, the Criso Slop Drop, and White Rim. For the team of Omega Gaming, the Jondo Giggle Shagnaria. Oh, that's going to be Shagnaria. Atom Fred and Burakar. We are in the ban phase at the moment. Ari, Soraka, Shen, and Dr. Mundo are the bans. And now we're going to have to see who the final 2 bans are going to be. Very interesting to see Soraka being banned there. Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe they just don't want to deal with Wish and Astral Blessing. Cassiopeia banned. You don't see too much of Cassiopeia, even if she's not banned. It's a fairly difficult champion to master, but very, very powerful. So final ban is going to be on the heads of Clanless or CLANSEARCH, or searching for team, looking for clan, looking for team. And we're going to have to see who they opt for. They've got 5 seconds remaining. And now we're going to be moving into the Champion Select. So Janna being banned out, which is very, very interesting. It's a powerful pick. It's one of the favorites these days to ban Janna. And because of the disruption, because of the power that she has in lane, the power that she has in the mid to late game team fights, just get rid of her. But it does mean that Morgana is in the pool and insta-lock Morgana. Black Shield makes it nearly ungankable in that mid lane. Not affected by crowd control. She's going to be able to throw down that Tormented Soil and just avoid all manner of ganks and all manner of, be able to out-farm passively, sit back, the lifesteal keeps her hit points up, and those terrifying Dark Bindings, So we need to pick 2 champions now on the side of CLANSEARCH. I don't know if it's CLANSEARCH or looking for clan. We'll bring the names up once we hit the 3-minute countdown moment. But for everybody that is sitting on chat at the moment, it would be fantastic if you could just bump the Reddit thread, say hello, share some love. Thank you, Ike33. Thank you for sticking around, and you've streamed so many of my videos so far. Thank you very much, dude. So Alistair Vayne, looking like that's what they want for the bottom lane. They are locked in. That could be Alistair in the jungle, but it'll most likely be an Alistair in the bottom lane to support Vayne. So, of course, Vayne is going to be running around, looking for those headbutt pulverizers, trying to deal as much damage as she can with those silver bolts. And if Alistair and Vayne can coordinate effectively and position themselves in the right place, Vayne is going to be able to use that knockback just to lock someone up even further, push them into a wall, and really stun lock them for a great duration of time, 2 to 3 seconds if you combine them all together. So Giggle is locked in the Taric. That's going to be pretty effective as a counter initiator. If somebody does jump in, say Alistair dives forward, he can throw that stun out onto Vayne, and of course that stops her in her tracks. She can't deal further damage. Our favorite Shagnara is going to be picking Udyr, and then once again that can be Udyr in the jungle or Udyr in the top lane. And he's one of my favorite champions because he's all the animals of the rainbow. He's a man, bear, pig, elephant, giraffe, hippopotamus, whatever he wants to be. But I tend to just stick with man, bear, pig. If anybody gets the reference, then we have a similar sense of humor. And Nivea, looking like it's going to be locked in for the, I think, AP of Slop Drop. I believe he played Ari in the last game, unless my memory is totally failing me. And it was actually against an Nivea. So, let's see how he wants to play that. That's quite a smart move as well, because the Jondo, if he's going to be jumping forward with those Soul Shackles, trying to stay as close as possible, a good crystallized wall is going to force Morgana out of the way. And that actually is a very effective counter to Soul Shackles, especially if they're going to be going with, very aggressive melee player like Udyr and We'll have to see who else they lock in. The thing that I'm a bit interested to see, or a little bit worried or nervous about, how effectively that's going to synchronize up with the likes of an Impale. And ignore me because it was swapped from Skarner to Lee Sin at the last second. So Impale is not going to be anything to worry about. So we're most likely going to see Lee Sin in the jungle. That'll probably be an Alistair Vayne bottom lane, and then Slop Drop playing Anivia in the mid against Morgana. And I like the idea that Crystallize, if Morgana goes in and commits and pushes for a fight, Crystallize will be able to lock everybody out, at least for a few seconds, keep them back, keep them out of range. But it's going to be about positioning and timing. And Atom Fred hovering over Graves, thinking about the Wild West shotgun-wielding dude. We've seen Tarek Graves be extremely effective once already today. Whether or not they're going to be able to replicate the success is really going to be down to how this Alistair Vayne combo works. And of course, with Vayne being a very short-range champion, she's going to need to be close to be effective, and that just means it's going to be increased damage from Graves. So we do have a Malphite locked in, and that means it's Malphite maybe in the top, or it's Malphite in the jungle. Udyr and Malf, they can swap around, and I think it's going to be determined by the champion that is locked in on behalf of CLANSEARCH. CLANSEARCH, for anybody that's watching, if you are interested in sponsoring a team, these guys, their name is CLANSEARCH, looking for clan. I'm going to give them a bump. I'm assuming that's what it's for. So there you go. I'll pull up the match screen in a few minutes and you can look at their names. Having a look now at the final pick, I think they're thinking the same thing I am at the moment. Who are we going to put top? Can Irelia beat both Udyr and Malphite? I think an Udyr will do slightly better than a Malphite would, just because of the stun, the bear, things like that. I have a request in for the Summoner Spell blocking ability, but at this exact moment in time, unfortunately, I do not, Ochil. So we're into the last minute, and what I will do is bring up the game screen. So if anybody is streaming this at the moment, players themselves have 1 minute to change their Summoner Spells, and it's not going to be revealed on stream. I have asked the ESL guys, ESL admins, if they can just share the overlay with me so I can hide it up. So where are we in the tournament at the moment? This is the Champions Club. And do a quick refresh. We're into the round of 4, which means it's 2, 4, 6, 8. Yay, I can do math. So we're down to the top 8 teams. All German affair, which is what we're looking for at the moment. Crew 2K are facing off against another German side. Then we've got the team of Bro here, who we watched earlier. We may be following them if they make it into the semi-finals as well. And finally, it's another German side. Germans like the Champions Clubs. So the game that we're following today, Omega Gaming facing off against CLANSEARCH. Omega Gaming have been playing a lot of cups. Taking a look at the EU West 5v5 ladder, I believe this means they are ranked 2nd, if I understand this correctly. Lots of cups been played in, quite a few victories, also some very recognized names. You know, I Play, Rage Gaming, VAT, Logics. Guys that have been around for quite a while, guys that have been competing for a very long time. Looking for Clan, they've also played in a few cups so far. I don't know if that pulls more matches, maybe it's just the one. And we've seen them taking out Team Thermal Take just a few minutes ago in the previous round. Now, in terms of ELO, CLANSEARCH, looking for Clan, we want to Clan, is currently sitting around about the 1600 average. One of their players is sitting around about 2000. On the flip side, Omega Gaming, all of them are around about the 2000 ELO bracket. And that's in the top 2 percentile of all League of Legends players. I'm 99% sure we've covered a minute. Yes, we have. We have, in fact, covered 2 minutes. The reason I popped that menu up, guys, is just to ensure the players themselves can't see the Summoner Spells. And what that means is they don't know who's going the top lane. I kept bringing it up. There we go. 2000 ELO is the 0.001%. The reason for covering the Summoner Spells, guys, is so that you don't know who's going in the top lane. And as you can see right now, the decision between whether it was going to be Malphite or Udyr has now been revealed. Udyr is going to be at the jungle. Malphite is going to be at the top against Irelia. And I'm concerned about this. I don't know if that ground smash and that disc is going to be able to keep Irelia off. You know, that shard of his that he throws out. Morgana and Nivea in the mid lane, I think that's just going to end up being a bit of a farm fest. Morgana does have fantastic burst, but she can't burst Nivea twice. What I like about the team composition at the moment is you've got a slightly more team-based AoE side from the Omega Gaming guys on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, because you've got the AoE damage from Graves, the burst. You've got the unstoppable force from Malphite, and if he's able to catch 3 or 4 champions with that unstoppable force, it gives Baraka the chance to get a good soul shackles off. On the flip side, you've got the single target counter initiation side, you know, where you've got the crystallized wall to lock people out. You have Lee Sin being able to knock people back with his Dragon Rage kick. And of course, Alistair being able to just headbutt any sort of threats away at the same time. They also have abilities to jump. Every single one of them, bar for Anivia, can dash forward in some way. You know, the Blade Surge, the Hadouken for Anivia, the roll, the tumble from Vayne. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys matched up. So just before we go into the loading screen, I'm going to throw up a quick commercial. And when you get back, it will be loading for the quarterfinal of today's Champions Club. All right. Anybody that doesn't have adverts, I keep forgetting that that's happening. I am actually going to be working on getting an advert loading banner, so at least it will cover that a little bit. In terms of champion skins, we have to rate them all the time. Mr. Bloodstone Tarek is a pretty cool skin. I do think he's trying too hard, and I think he's going through a bit of an emo phase. Looking at our Marble Malphite, this is a particularly cool skin. In-game, though, it doesn't look like his arm is floating quite as awesomely as it does in the artwork. On the opposing side, we've got Longhorn Alistair, and I don't know which Anivia skin I prefer. This particular one or the Hextech. I think the Hextech is just a little bit cooler. So keeping an eye now on the games. Champions are moving in. Boot pot meta completely taking over the world. We do have armor on Lee Sin, which is quite interesting. Pretty big attack damage page though, so that explains where he's stacking armor. As opposed to building all that armor from his rune page, he's opted to take it through items. And I do need to pull my overlays up. So that is now the overlays back up. What's up? And a very defensive start now. Slop drop and the rest of looking for searching clan team thing. They're chilling on the right hand side at the moment, hiding, defending their red buff. They're going to be giving the Creso a very early red, and Lee Sin is a very powerful early game ganker. He's going to be able to jump up, land the sonic wave, pull himself forward, and then hit a Tempest / cripple. Combine that with a red buff slow, and it's incredibly powerful. So Omega Gaming, they have now fallen back. They're chilling all the way in the background. And there's that little link on Marble Malphite's arm. It always looks like it's just going to fall off. Recalling, all for Omega Gaming. Bottom lane is now going to be heading into lane to just set up. And very, very interesting. Marcelio chilling in this top lane bush. He's put a single point into Pulverize. And he's also just blown a CV. I didn't even see where that went off, actually. So missed where that went. Wraith Camp has been picked up by the Creso, and going to get quite a lot of help on this red buff, I feel. Blue buff is going to go to Udia. At the early levels, he desperately needs it. Constantly switching between those stances, constantly switching between Bear and Turtle and Tiger. In this case, it'll be Phoenix, because it's probably going to be farming Jungle Phoenix. And in the top lane now, we've got Marcelio chilling in the bush. Atom Fred, so close to a dangerous situation, and he doesn't even know it. We also have Lee Sin setting up. Oh, this is a lot of pressure. And I think Atom Fred knows it. I think Atom Fred knows that Lee Sin has started. He knows that Lee Sin would get that level 2 and come to the top lane. And I wonder if he's noticed that there's no Alistair in the bottom. He's moving forward. He's walking straight to Alistair. Here goes Alistair. The Pulverize misses, as does the Resonating Strike. Ooh, that was close. That was very, very close. The very, very edge of the Pulverize ability. Just missing it out. Mid lane, very interestingly, Anivia is actually pushing it harder than Morgana is. It's actually not too interesting. Morgana does need a couple of levels onto that Tormented Soil. The general standard is to put 3 points into it. 3 points into Tormented is enough to kill the entire back wave, you know, with a single casting, as long as the full duration ticks. So we do have now a gank coming in. A beautiful stun by Slop, but a bear stand flash. A brilliant flash from Slop as well. Yudia, I love that. That aggressive bear pimp slap. Blowing his flash to get in range. Locks up Anivia. And the millisecond that Anivia gets out of, or Slop gets out of that stun, immediately flashes away. So really great play. It did cost a summoner spell though. So if Shagnaria comes back, he's going to be able to pick up maybe a potential kill if they can land their abilities. So looking through the items at the moment, White Rim is now got his wave incredibly pushed against Atom Fred. And look at the graphical effect there. Brutal Strikes activated, and it makes his fists glow. I hadn't actually noticed that before. A very early blue buff has been donated to Anivia, onto Slop Drop. So Slop is going to be able to be spamming out all of those ice blasts. Frostbite and Flash Frost, rather. They're just giant ice cubes, really. Keep your drinks cold, and that's all they really are. The John Doe on Graves at the moment, sitting on 19 CS, 20 creep score to the 16 of Vayne. And very early now, Udia's come to the top lane. The slow comes out, bear stance as well, along as the red buff ticking. There comes the speed debuff as well. A flash forward from White Room. They're going to think about a tower dive, but it's not going to be enough. And another, what you could call successful gank. Shag is able to push forward. Shag is able to get into lane and apply some damage, but unfortunately, just not enough to pick up a kill just yet. Summoner spells have been blown, so if you can get back within 3 minutes, if you can get back within that sort of time frame, that's the window of opportunity. Moving forward to steal some jungle at the moment now, and the Creso just picking up that last creep, not managing to land his Hadouken. Throws that Q spell of his out, and now we've got pressure on this top lane. Aurelia versus Malphite. Lee Sin's coming in against Shag as well. There goes the Tempest. Cripple's been applied, so that's going to be a bit of an attack debuff. He moves his Safeguard, sorry, to jump towards a friendly. Just get out of range of Udia. And it's tentative. It's tentative. The champions, they're trying to find weakness. They're trying to find someone they can kill. And unfortunately, just not being able to combo the abilities 100% the way you'd want them to. So Alistair's played very aggressively, or placed a very aggressive ward all the way up by the dragon. Udia is now thinking about coming in. The Dark Binding does miss, and a beautiful black shield from Borokar. That blocks out the stun from Flash Frost. And Nivea, 2 points into Flash Frost, 3 points into Frostbite. So if you can combo the abilities, it's going to be decent damage. Alright, I will crank down the volume on my microphone just a little bit there, guys. And let's see what happens. Keeping on this bottom lane now. Taric and Graves moving forward. Silver Bolts proc from Vayne. She's put 2 points into Tumble, 1 into Silver Bolts, and then 1 into Condemn. And that's pretty interesting. And middle is huge damage. Slop Drop does get egg. The Chiro is now going to be putting some damage down. Exhaust goes out onto Shag, so he's going to be taking a lot of damage. No red buff though to apply a slow. A brilliant Flash Frost into the Frostbite. Brilliantly done. The ultimate. That tiny bit of damage, that last tick of 80 damage was enough to pick up the first blood. And really nicely done. Technically speaking, Anivia was the first one to go down. That egg, Slop Drop, was actually killed. But compliments of that passive, compliments of rebirth, was able to come back to life. 0-1 is the score. So bring up the farm and have a quick look at it. 38 Vayne, 52 Graves. Advantage in Graves' favor, obviously. Morgana 38, 43 Anivia. Top lane 32 to 37, so fairly even across the board. Small differences except for that bottom lane. And Aurelia playing fairly passively, opting not to get too aggressive onto Malphite. Maxing out Heat and Sile, which is the standard. Taking a seismic charge to the face. As he's about to get slapped by Atom Fred. Dashes away with Blade Surge. Jumps up to a minion and gets out of range. Black Shield does get popped with at least a little bit of the Glacial Storm and a Flash Frost. But Morgana's going to be able to heal up that damage quickly enough. And let's see where she puts her 7th ability point. Top lane, we've got a pressure now. White Rim jumping onto Atom Fred. Big creep wave behind him though, so Adam Fred's probably not going to want to take that fight. Slightly more important to pick up the farm, pick up the creep score. So level 7 is very, very close for Morgana, and the point goes into the Tormented Soil. And Lee Sin picking up his red buff, working towards level 6. Once he gets that Dragon Rage, it increases his burst that he can put out. Combine the Dragon's Rage with his Resonating Strike, and it really is a great execution ability. So Ping's going down now onto Slop Drops and Nivea. He doesn't have Rebirth yet. Look at the cooldown there on the bottom left-hand side. 50%. 50%. And that's the time when they really need to put pressure on. They really need to get Slop Drop down to actually pick up that kill. So there goes the Black Shield pop. Yulia was thinking about coming in. Flash is available again, so he's going to be able to do that Flash Bear Slap. And now we've got Tariq coming forward as well. So there's the Flash Bear Slap. It's going to be moving forward. The Dazzle coming out. Flash as well from Tariq. Shatter was actually what picked up the kill. Dragon's Rage comes up from the crease. So now he's not going to be able to use it to kick anybody else away. And I think that was a little bit of a preemptive Dragon Strike. Unfortunate there, but really great play by Borokar. Knowing to activate the Soul Shackles, knowing he can lock him up. On the bottom lane though, the last kill, the last hit from that auto attack, just not enough to pick up the kill onto Graves. And great map awareness from Deify Me and Marcelo. Noticing Tariq is gone, noticing Tariq was in the middle, and immediately pushing, immediately going very, very aggressive on Grave, but just not having enough to finish it off. So Malphite in the top lane, he's going for the GP5s. He's got the Philo Stone, he's got the Heart of Gold. And let's see if the John is going to hang around. If Deify Me can get a good Tumble Condemn, it might be enough to, lock him down, push him against the wall, stun him up. And that's what's going to be able to pick up a kill. Top lane, White Rim, free farming while Malphite's away. Yudia's coming into this bottom lane, but Graves is so low on life, I don't really know if he's going to be able to do anything. Was thinking about it. Shag was considering the fight, but opted against it. 2v1, you never want to fight 2v1. That's not opportune at all. So, Malphite Aurelia in this top lane. Aurelia has been trying to poke down Malph, is trying to put some damage down, and really good damage there, activating the Hit and Style and the Blade Surge. But immediately one Ground Slam and a couple of auto attacks returns the same damage back. So Malphite's actually doing a little bit better than I anticipated. The debuffs from that Seismic Shard, the debuff from his Ground Slam, it's really slowing the amount of damage that Aurelia can put out. She's almost maxed her hit, and now working on Blade Surge. And the Blade Surge animation is one of my favorites in the game. The Blade Surge to Blade Surge to Blade Surge. I just think it looks really, really cool. So there's the moving forward. She opts to use the Equilibrium Strike. It only applies a slow at this point in time because Malphite does have a little bit more health. Trying for the bait. Now the creature is going to be moving forward. Whether or not he's going to land that. There goes the Iron Guard. So, Whirlwind, Tempest, and Cripple as well. Exhaust gets used at the same time. They're going to keep applying the damage. Ground Slam goes out. The creature wanted to fight. The creature wanted to push. But unfortunately, White was not interested. CV goes down, so they know UD is chilling in the jungle. And that means the gank he was looking to set up is not going to happen. Very interesting to look at the items thus far. We haven't seen an Oracle's Elixir on either of the junglers. But look at the GP5s across the side. Tariq already sitting with his GP5. You've got Udia GP5s, 2 GP5s on Malph. And the only GP5 we see on behalf of looking for Clan is on Alistair, is on the support. So the longer this game goes, the better the situation is going to be for Omega Gaming. They're slowly going to creep ahead in gold. Have a quick look at total gold so far. UD 1,600. Graves putting a few auto attacks into DFI. Just poking. Hey, what's up? I'm here. Pay attention to me. 3,200 gold to the 3,000 of Vayne. We've got a huge collection now coming down. Omega Gaming, 5-man pushing Dragon. They've got a pink ward down as well, so they clear out the wards from looking for Clan. But now we do have a collection of looking for Clan moving forward. Aurelia is trying to get there as quickly as she can. She moved forward, did use the teleports at the end. A stun goes down to Alistair. Unbreakable Wool. He picks up a 4-man with that pulverized combo. All of a sudden, they're falling backwards. Aurelia's now jumped in with the Blade Surge. Brilliant, brilliant ultimate from Graves. In conjunction with the Soul Shackles and collateral damage, Alistair's finally killed. Now the Soul Shackles does pick up at least 1 or 2 stuns. Vayne is, UD is pushing onto Aurelia. Up in the top lane, the egg gets, and Nivea does get egged. 2 kills for Omega Gaming. And a brilliant collection of ultimates. Alistair did pick up 4. Alistair did knock 4 of the champions up. but they don't have an AoE team to back it up. They don't have the AoE damage to finish off, you know, a 4-man CC. And the very second that that Pulverize ended, that Omega Gaming landed back on the ground, Malphite caught 3 of them with Pulverize. Barakar popped out his Soul Shackles, managed to tag, I think, 4. I remember seeing 4 trails. And at the exact same time, Buckshot and Collateral Damage came over their heads. So it was single target team, unable to blow a single target up. And then obviously just eating all of those AoE ultimates. So let's see what they're going to spend the money on. Not only did they pick up 2 more kills, it was 2, yes. They also picked up the Dragon, so that's 1,000 gold for the team. And now Aurelia is putting some aggression down. Max Heaton style. She's got the first part of what I assume is going to be a Wriggles Lantern. And then we're going to see where that moves forward to. 3,000 gold the difference, 14 minutes in, no towers down. And I think the bottom lane is going to start to change. The scenery is going to start looking a little bit differently. We've got double Dorans, Berserkers, Greaves, and Pickaxe on Graves. In comparison to the double Dorans, Berserkers, and Vamp Scepter. Vayne, 900 gold. So we're going to see if she's going to go Pickaxe as well. Or maybe save up towards a BF Sword. That's probably what I would assume. Shag, chilling up there saying, you know what, I've got wards. Check him out. Farm-wise, 110 to 100 in the bot lane. Mid lane, 102 to 97. Top lane, 79 to 94. Malphite is being out-farmed by Aurelia. And that's an interesting one, because I thought it would have been a little bit closer. They've both been in lane at the same time. Maybe Whiteroom just a little bit more mechanically knowledgeable. There goes the Dazzle, and a brilliant headbutt pushes Graves away. So Buckshot ends up only hitting Marcelo. But the damage that went down onto Deify was huge. Did collateral damage? No, because the Buckshot did hit. I didn't think it had, but it did. In conjunction with Tarek's ultimate, he throws down Radiance. And gives the attack damage boost, gives the ability power boost. And let's see what happens. We've got a 3-man dive coming up at the top here. Barakar's going to look for that Dark Binding. A little bit of a juke from Thing. Just missing the Dark Binding. A brilliant unstoppable force. That's immediately going to knock both of them up. The Dragon's Rage kick does knock them both, or does knock Malphite away, but not enough to really stop anything. A Dark Binding goes up. All those ultimates used all that damage and nobody died. Absolutely amazing. It was really cool to see Malphite fly forward. You hear that truck animation of bang. And as soon as the truck animation ends, Malphite flies backwards. Lee Sin just says, you're not invited to this party. Lands the roundhouse kick to the face and gets rid of him. So a great, defensive play from both Aurelia and Lee Sin there to be able to get away unscathed. And there's the aggression. Once again, a nice headbutt. And look at the damage just from the Shatter Radiance combo. Giggle takes off takes off nearly half of Vayne's hit points as a support. As a support, he's dealing that much damage. See how Tarek has actually skilled himself up. That's the reason why. 5 points into Shatter. In terms of penetration or anything else, nothing really. But Shatter alone is hitting 240 damage, plus another 150 from Radiance. And then, of course, he gets an attack damage boost as well. So Graves Tarek now moving into steal the blue buff. We've got no ward on behalf of looking for clan. A few pings, and they're going to donate that to Morgana. Ooh, a little bit of a delay there. That was a bit strange. Lee Sin's going to be able to give a nice big kiss to Yudia now. He's got the Oracle's Elixir, so it's a little bit later. Opting to use Smite to steal the big Wraith. Taking the experience away, taking the gold away. Really nice play there. Pulverize once again, just being a bit missed. Compliments of the quick draw. He's able to dash away. He's able to get out of the range of Pulverize. And the game has just slowed down a little bit. The champions are now setting up. They've gone back, they've reset. There's no towers down. There's no team fight pressure right now. And they're focusing just on farming. They're focusing on picking up as many creep kills as they can. Getting as much gold as they can. And Morgana sitting on 3,000 gold. As well as triple Dorans. If she carries on farming another 600, that's going to be a death, Rabadon's death cap outright. Rabadon's death cap straight up. I don't think that'll be the case. I assume it's probably going to be the Needlessly Large Rod as well as the Blasting one. And probably Sorcerer Shoes. And Aurelia is just being left to farm. 123 CS to 98. Admittedly, though, Malphite does have the double GP5s and has had them for a fairly long time. So gold-wise, 4,700 to 4,200 of Aurelia. Of course, 2 assists and a dragon as well, so that'll account for some of the gold. But those GP5s are so important. Those GP5s, they keep ticking, and they really convert. They set you up so well for the mid-game. So 18-5, the Flash Frost lands. Manager picks up another E as well. Now Soul Shackles comes up from a Dark Binding. A very, very, very defensive flash from Slop Drop. He does get away, but he did have Rebirth. I don't know if Morgana would have been able to get away. I don't know if Morgana would have been able to pick up the kill onto Anivia. So, managing to get away, but it did cost a flash. Bottom lane at the minute, BF Sword has been purchased for Vayne. So, let's see whether she's going to convert this into a Bloodthirster. Graves, the Jondo, he wants to check. He wants to look in the bush. Tarek's now coming up. See where the Dazzle lands. Not going for it. And we can see the Dragons coming up. 5-man team of Omega. They're already setting up for Dragon. All 5 of them chilling. There goes the quick draw. 2 auto attacks. No buckshot though. Dragon has to be up shortly. I didn't get the time, but we've got another 5-man push. Teleport is available for Irelia. So let's see whether or not they're going to do it. There goes the Radiance. Dark Binding doesn't manage to hit anybody, so that's going to be back on cooldown for another 5 more seconds. They'll be saving Smite. Crystallize locks in a few champions, but they don't decide to commit. They locked 4 champions in and didn't commit on Graves. So that's the opportunity wasted. Dark Binding lands onto the Crystal. A brilliant unstoppable force. Immediately blows up Lee Sin, and now they're turning their chance into Vayne. And I think they should have gone. You know, they locked 4 champions in. They locked them in that Dragon Pit. Unfortunately, didn't follow it up. Max range Dark Binding, flash bear stun. That's going to be able to lock up Anivia for a few seconds. She does have Rebirth and she is under the turret, so it goes down. Now they're falling back. Aurelia with 1 more turret hit. Going to be able to use the ultimate and just picks up a kill with a 3rd proc of that. Now dashing forward, Blade Search almost available. Well, it is back off cooldown, but didn't want to dive forward. So Rebirth saving Anivia, and that's it now chilling on cooldown for another... What is the cooldown on that ability actually? For 4 minutes. Counter kill onto Udyr thanks to a slightly aggressive dive. But 6,000 gold advantage. They've got 2 dragons. They've also picked up the first turret of the game. And if that allows Tarek and Graves to start roaming, it's going to be able to set up Omega Gaming for a few more team ganks. It's going to be able to play now the mid-roaming game. And it's going to just give them all the freedom in the world to move around, and having the power of that Dazzle, you know, the Dazzle like guaranteed stun is just extremely, extremely strong in this stage of the game. So Morgana has finished her Sorcerer's Shoes, opted to go for the Zhonya's Hourglass first, and it's a good decision. Very, very good decision. Flash in, pop the Soul Shackles, you know, be protected for as long as is possible. And we've got a slight variation in the attack damage carries at the moment. Vayne opting to go for Bloodthirster, as opposed to the slightly more standard Infinity Edge. And you don't really see too many Bloodthirsters these days. You know, it's sort of fallen out of favor. Even though it actually received, I don't want to call it a buff, but it received a small rework in terms of losing only half its stacks as opposed to all of them. So it's slightly less risky to build now. But still, most attack damage carries prefer the straight up IEs. And gold-wise though, 5,300 to 6,800 on Graves. Graves significantly further ahead. Compliments of the Dragons, compliments of the farm. And obviously the kills and assists as well. 0-0-0 on Vayne. No bonus gold. We now have Brokar moving in. He's about to find the Creso. No ward. They're going to face check, and I think the Creso knows they're there. No. This is an enemy ward. So pressure on Anivia. Anivia gets blown up in the bottom, and that was the Dazzle, Shatter, Radiance, Buckshot, collateral damage. Everything was used, and it paid off for a kill. So you can't complain about that. 22 minutes mark. Now we've got a roaming side of Omega Gaming. They're pushing this middle turret down. Slowly by slowly putting pressure. Each wave punching it a few more times, dealing a bit more damage. Hadouken missed from the Creeper, but I doubt he would have followed it up. You know, there's only 3 of them there. They didn't have the best positioning for that, and it was pretty clear the turret was going to go down. 4 of them, sorry. 4 opponents and 3 on behalf of Looking for Clan. So Malphite, he's finished his first big item, Frozen Heart. Still got his GP5s ticking over, and I wonder where he's going to go with this. Malphite does have some really good burst if you do put some ability power on him, and I like to see that, you know, the likes of Abyssal Scepter, maybe even, you know, Rylai's Crystal Scepter works fairly well. Now Aurelia's moving forward. She's hit that Equilibrium Strike. She does have the red buff as well, so it's going to be continually applying that slow. Moving forward, there's another dash forward of the Blade Surge. Continually applying slow. Red buff is ticking away. The Seismic Shard is going to give him a decent speed boost though. Misses the Ground Slam. Just as Whiterun turned around, just as Whiterun stepped back, Ground Slam was thrown out. But so much damage and so tanky that Frozen Heart really, really helps. It mitigates all of the attack speed that Irelia can put out. And of course all the armor reduces the damage that she's going to be putting down as well. And then the gold graph is growing ever slowly. 8,000 difference now. At 23 minutes, it is a sizable difference. We've got a Zeal already sitting on Graves. Still got 250, sitting 1,700 gold ahead of Vayne. That's a BF sword difference. A BF sword difference at this stage in the game. Now, we're going to start seeing teams slowly prepare for Baron. And I think that technically speaking, the likes of looking for clan or clan search do have a slightly better Baron team. You know, the Silver Bolts proc, the Resonating Strike from Lee Sin. You've also then got Irelia, who can just continually bash or continue to deal all that damage. It's going to take it down fairly quickly, but of course you do have Graves and Yudia on the side of Omega. They're going to be able to deal a whole bunch of damage as well. Morgana sitting 2,000 gold. Going to start working towards even more ability power items. And Yudia, no more oracles. After his last death, he has not replaced that oracle's elixir. It's 400 gold he's not willing to invest right now. But we don't see one on either Lee Sin or on Alistair. And this looks like it might be a setup for Baron. We've got a 5-mana Mega moving forward. We know that Lee Sin and Yudia were sitting in the bottom lane. And I think they know about it. I think that communication has definitely been chatted. If I were on the side of Clan Search, you definitely have to think something was up. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. Baron is going down. And he's being bashed away slowly but surely. Baron is now sitting at 3,000 hit points. The Cristo is coming in. We don't have any vision. Is he going to dash for it? He steals it with the Q. The Resonating Strike at the cost of his life steals Baron. Huge play. Huge play. It's a decent chunk of gold. And that Baron buff is going to balance out the difference in ability power and damage. So it's not going to bring them in control of the game, but it is going to just even out the difference. It's going to give them that sustain, the health regen, the health steal. And a brilliant steal from that Resonating Strike on behalf of Lee Sin. The damage, of course, it does deal more damage the more health a target is missing. And of course, it's, let's call that 570 damage plus 60. So 630 damage before armor. And brilliant steal. Timing on that was fantastic. And we've also just noticed now a Oracle's Elixir picked up by Tarek. 106. Opting not to drink it right away. And still no Oracle's Elixir on behalf of Clan Search. 25 minutes in and they have not been removing the wards. And it's very detrimental. Look at the amount of vision that... well, it's not really actually that much. I got my colors backwards. So, fair number of wards. Very defensive wards on behalf of Clan Search. Slightly more aggressive wards for Omega. But of course, not having any towers down and having the ability to roam, they do need those towers. They do need those wards. Just keep tabs on your enemy. Keep tabs of what they're doing in their own jungle, where they're going, and what they might be setting up for. Borokana on Morgana now. He needs another 1,000 gold to finish his death cap. Shirelia's Reverie on both Malphite and on Tarek, and you can just see the focus on team play. Their abilities, they combine together. Their abilities, you know, they synergize really well with one another. And having two Shirelia's Reveries just means they can keep up. You can have Morgana get a full proc on Soul Shackles. You can have Morgana staying in their faces and keeping up with a potential kiting side. Combine that with Black Shield, and not only can she not be stunned or slowed or knocked back or crowd controlled in any way, it's almost a guaranteed damage. Frozen Hearts, of course, on Malphite is going to debuff all attacks. So Lee Sin and Vayne and Aurelia all affected by that. And of course, the Aegis of the Legion being looked... oh, not yet. Aegis of the Legion Yudia, sorry. I thought I'd seen it and I was like, no, it's not there. But it is. So great emphasis on team play at the moment. Double wriggles on looking for clan or clan search. Aurelia and Lee Sin. We now have the Zeal built up for Vayne. So the movement speed, the critical chance, attack speed, it's all going to be benefiting her. as she starts to get even later into the game and getting more, more and more items, if they can keep Vayne alive, she's going to be able to deal a whole lot. And look at the damage from the Chryso. Dropped to 14 or 450 damage taken off from a single Dark Binding. One spell from Morgana just melts off a third of his life. Dark Binding just missing there. A little bit optimistic. It is at max range. But when you've got blue buff and you have 34% cooldown reduction, as well as near infinite mana, you can afford to toss them out. And those gold per 5s really starting to shine now. 8-2 in kills, 8,000 gold difference. And we've seen 3 dragons and 3 turrets. So that will equate for 3,000, called it about 5,000 gold. 4.5, 5,000 gold based on just the map objectives. Farm across the board is fairly even. Small advantages sort of either way that balance one another out. Other than Graves, it's a fair chunk ahead. You know, that'll put 10, 15. But 4,000 gold difference, compliments of GP5 items. 4,000 gold. And that's at 28 minutes, and it's going to continue to grow. Malphite only having the single GP5 now since he's completed that Shurelia's. And we can expect the dragon coming up around about, I think it was the 31-minute mark is when it'll be back. Tarek roaming with his Oracle's Elixir, so he's going to be clearing out some wards. And the less vision that CLANSEARCH have, and the less informed decisions they can make, the more nervous that they are. You can see it in the playstyle. They're sticking together. They're 5. They're almost huddling around one another. Now we're going to have to see what happens. So moving forward, the stun does land onto Tarek, and I think they used the Shurelias as well. There was 1 Shurelias used for that. And nothing coming of it. You know, Shurelias was used, but CLANSEARCH was just too far away. And Omega not able to get forward. 1 tumble, and takes away a little bit of health. But of course, Vayne does need to keep beating on their faces more and more and more. And I think the game sounds has gone down for some reason. At least it sounds like it. There we go. That's it back to normal. So let's follow Vayne for a little bit. Keep an eye on these teams as they start moving forward, as they start grouping up for the next big team fight. And this is very, very scary. Alistair is wearing Oracle's Elixir. I haven't seen just how long it's been on, but it's only been at least the last 5 or so minutes tops. Finally going to remove that vision. Finally give themselves an opportunity to move a little bit more freely. And once they can make slightly more informed decisions or catch somebody out, that's going to be the key. Once they can catch somebody out, they can actually look for some map objectives. Right now, their team composition doesn't favor a 5-man all-in. Their team composition needs to pick somebody out, lock out the enemy team. They need to use that crystallized wall effectively and prevent people getting anywhere. And then commit to it to, you know, 4-man, 5-man all-in once they've blown somebody up. Aurelia are getting closer and closer to being very scary. I'll say that, actually. It's only 130 gold in the bank. Phage and Wit's End completed. So that's pretty decent damage. The slow as well. Very good headbutt, pulverize. Turtle shield does go away. Equilibrium strike and crystallize. Almost, you know, slowing his escape. And Morgana was very close by. And Morgana with Deathcap and Rabadon's currently sitting on 453 ability power. Triple Dorans, Rabadon's, Zhonya's. That's it. There's not much more you can say to that. Her Dark Binding's currently hitting for 710 damage. 710 damage before mitigation. Dark Binding at max range. Even if it did land, it would only have popped Slop Drop's Banshee's Veil. But you do need to pop it. You need to use a spell freely that you can, especially during a setup. And look at the damage there onto Vayne. A brilliant, unstoppable force. That moves forward all the way. Not enough to kill Vayne though, so she's going to be able to get away with the likes of Summoner Heal. Soul Shackles does lock up 3. The first kill is onto Graves. They do manage to turn the focus, and that is what they needed to do. They needed to turn around, put all their champions on one, and really blow somebody up. Getting rid of Graves means that constant DPS is removed. But not having Vayne in your fight, not having Vayne to carry on putting damage means they can't press forward. If Vayne had been there, if Vayne had been able to, or Vayne had avoided some of that damage, they would have been able to chase down Omega. The abilities have been used. The burst was gone. You know, and there's a couple of seconds between each of their abilities, between Malphite's Ground Slam and Seismic Shard, before the next Dark Binding can be thrown out by Borokar. You know, Vayne can stick on them, can chase. get that speed buff boost from her passive and really hurt them, you know, as much damage as possible. Phantom Dancer and Bloodthirster. She is going to be hitting hard. Plus 8% of a target's maximum life. You've got Yudia that's built up some hit points. You have Malphite that's got, you know, sort of naturally tanky, fairly high hit points. It's just going to make those silver bolts proc harder and harder. And that's exactly what CLANSEARCH need to do. They need to survive that burst and then turn it around. Survive that initial explosion and then put the hurting down. Graves at the moment a full item ahead. Not only does he have his Phantom Dancer and the Infinity Edge, he is also sitting on a Last Whisperer. And that's just going to be negating any armor that anybody's building. But right now, nobody's really prioritized a lot of armor. We've got another Baron attempt being set up. They're moving forward, but there is a fair number of wards for CLANSEARCH. So they know what's going on. And it's going down a little bit slower this time around. Oracle's Elixir on Alistair means he's going to be taking this ward out. And look how slowly Baron's going down. This is fairly high level builds. 2,000 life once again. Lee Sin's going to try, move forward. He smite steals it, jumps in there, and another smite steal from Lee Sin. 2 steals in a row. Lands the resonating strike on Taric, dives all the way forward, and uses smite to pick up a second steal. The Crusoe, your timing, dude, is unbelievable. It's very rare to see a single, you know, I don't want to say rare, right? It's uncommon to see smite steals, you know, really successful. They do tend to be shut down or just be a little bit off. And the Crusoe's managed to pull off 2 in a single game. So really well played, really great on that timing. I believe his Sixth Sense is particularly strong. But even with that, even with the, you know, the Baron buff on board, they are still 10,000 gold behind. They've not taken a single turret. And there are still GP5s ticking. Taric, Yudia, and Malphite have got those Heart of Golds, and they're still ticking. That's eventually going to be converted into Randian's Omen. And that's what's going to be needed. That Randian's Omen is going to shut down Vayne, slow it down, slow the attack speed. It's really going to negatively affect Aurelia as well. So there goes a Dark Binding, really nicely done. Does land onto White Rim. And Nivea's moving forward and a brilliant Crystallize. That's going to turn Borokar away. He uses his Hourglass. Now all 5 of them are there. Soul Shackles, but look at that burst. Soul Shackles got off. It hit all 5 members of CLANSEARCH. But immediately Condemn, Pulverize, the Hadouken, completely obliterated Morgana. She's picked up a Giant's Belt. So Giant's Belt's most likely going to go into a Rylai's, would be my logical assumption. But I'm not 100% certain. So with Morgana down and sitting with the Baron buff, they're now going to start trying to push down turrets. Atom Fred does move forward with a teleport, or moves to mid rather with teleport. So it's not too bad. Used his Summoner spell to save mid tower, or at least delay mid tower. It did lose top tower in the meantime though. So there goes the middle tower down. Vayne is really starting to hurt, really starting to put some pressure down. How much gold is she sitting on at the minute? 1,800 gold. That kill, the being involved in those kills, and of course picking up the, I think it's 300 odd gold for Baron Nash. I mean, she can start working towards the next item. Maybe a Last Whisperer. Now we've got the Shurelya's Reveries popped. Shag is moving forward. The smoke screen goes out from the Jondo. Let's follow Yudia this time around. Bear Stance does land. White Rim's going to be running away. Does get out of range. And while all of that pressure was there on Aurelia, really smart decision. Tank the turret and take another tower. Very smart play by CLANSEARCH. Nicely done, taking another map objective. So from having no towers, they've just taken out 3 in the space of a minute. And they're going to steal red buff. And I believe they're also going to pick up this bottom turret as well. There's a really big tower creep wave coming in. So I'm going to assume this will get taken out by Vayne. She's nearing max level as well. Is max level, sorry. So there's going to be another turret down. And Marcelio making good usage of this Oracle's Elixir right now. Has had it on board for around about 10 minutes. 7 to 10 minutes. Clearing out the map, putting a lot of pressure down. And that was just really cool. Clearing out the whole wave. I like watching those massive waves getting eaten. As a player, you always know how good it feels to get all that gold for no effort whatsoever. So we're following Giggle. I don't even know if that is Giggle or Jiggle or Giggle. I don't know. It's Giggle to me. So he's moving around with Oracle's Elixir, playing a near perfect support. 10 kills for his team, involved in 9 of them, and he still hasn't died. The money that he's getting, he's probably earned his Oracle's Elixir back in killing wards. So, OG are setting up now. They got a 4-man in the mid. Graves is coming up from the rear. They'll get up there fairly close. And Vayne opting to pick up a Quicksilver Sash, and that's a very, very good decision. Bear Stun Stance, Dazzle, Unstoppable Force, sorry, the Seismic Shard. There's so many locking up crowd control abilities that come out from Omega Gaming that Quicksilver Sash is going to allow it's just a single get out of jail free card. Pop the Quicksilver, then flash away. Pop the Quicksilver and pop heal. You know, whatever's important. Very important to note that Randian's Omen has now been completed. So Udia is going to be able to slow the movement speed down. He's going to be able to slow the attack speed as well. And if they can prolong the fight, it's going to reduce the amount of damage that can come out. But they need to blow somebody up first. If OG do not lock people down, you know, for all of the team fight abilities to take effect, you know, as a group, it's not going to be enough. So let's see how it gathers. Let's see if Unstoppable Force into a Randian's Omen, Soul Shackles, Buckshot Collateral Damage is what's in store for us. 15,000 gold difference. Have a look at the gold graph right now. 12,000 for Morgana to 12,000 on Nivea. This is even 11 on Malphite to 10 on Aurelia. So not a huge difference at this stage in time, actually. But then again, there is 30 CS difference. 1 to 5. So 1,300 gold just in the GP5s. In the bottom lane, 285 CS on Vayne to the 358 on Graves. Graves has been farming like an absolute monster, averaging nearly 10 a minute. I think that will work out to around about 8.5 or so creeps per minute. And it's about as, you know, it's as good as it's going to get in this type of game. Sitting around 7 to 10 creep score per minute on average. You're doing pretty well. That's about the top level. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone on chat land. What's the absolute most? A fairly certain 10 per minute is around about as close as you're going to get. It might be maybe 10.2 or something per minute is the highest. So we got another small jungle invade. There are some wards though. So we do know about this. Udia does get caught up. Does get stunned as well. Shurelius has been popped. Nasterio is moving forward. Headbutt comes down. Pulverize knocks Udia up. And OG have just said, you know what? We're gonna leave this. Udia's down. He got caught out and it's not worth committing. But it took them a long time to take him out. It took them a long time to get through that Randian's Omen and Aegis of the Legion and the Turtle Stance. Baron buff will be up fairly shortly. I think it's a 42-minute mark, if memory serves. And we've got a little bit of a stalemate right now. 4 players of Omega. They want to fight. They want to commit. And now let's have a look at Baron buff and just how quickly he goes down with the Silver Bolt procs happening. Dark Binding comes out. Tumble Away does prevent it. Now we got the attention has been turned. Finally, the Banshee's Veil has been popped. So if they commit to this fight, it's going to be damage. Vayne still bashing away on this Baron Nashor. Alistair's been caught out. Not too bad on Unstoppable Force. Picks up 2. Unbreakable Wool comes out from Alistair. He misses his Pulverize this time round. But that means it's a few ultimates that have been down. Chevalier's Reverie has been popped to get away from the fight. And are we going to see another steal? Come on. Can the Crusoe do it 3 for 3? We're setting this up. We are setting this up. Keeping an eye on this Baron Nashor health. He's been able to regen. He's been able to reset his life. And it looks like CLANSEARCH want to commit. Graves does have his Guardian Angel up. And look at that. Crit, crit, crit. Lots of damage onto White Ren. And this is just one of those duel situations. One of those draw situations. Who's going to be the first one to commit? 120 creeps per lane in 10 minutes, guys. That's the numbers. Now look at this. We've got to crystallize up. A little bit of a strange crystallize. Didn't really lock anybody out. Can Lee Sin do it? He's landed it. He's moved forward. The stun does go down. Unfortunately, 3 for 3 was a little too much to ask for. Very good timing on Tariq. They're managing to land the stun the second he walked into it. I think Udia turned some attention with a bear stun stance as well. And they want an inhibitor from this. They know that Lee Sin's down. That Dragon Rage kick is no longer available to them. Slopdrop opting to use his Crystallized Wall as well, you know, a little bit early before the champions actually got up into the lane. So that's the inhibitor turret down. They're going to take this inhibitor from it as well, and they may even carry on pushing. The creep wave has just gotten up here. And No, opting not to. They've got Baron. They've got the gold. They've got an inhibitor out of it. Holding the 9,000 gold lead. And that's slowly starting to fall off. You know, that advantage, what it meant 20 minutes ago, it's a lot smaller this time round. Graves, Guardian Angel, 300 attack damage. Seeing 46% armor penetration. 46%. That's huge amounts. Tarek may have been caught out there, but unfortunately, no 100% reliable crowd control, so he pretty much walks away from it. And just moving back into the lane, they're going to now pick up their buffs. You can see blue buff is available, as well as red buff. Clear out their jungles, maybe spend some of the money that they've got. Well, they have spent most of it. 1,800, 1,100, 1,700. That's decent cash, and I think we're going to see Graves starting to pot up. He's going to start glowing like a Christmas tree. Double pots, the elixir and the strength, the movement speed and the strength. And having a Guardian's Angel as well, it's so powerful. Another team aura, Soul Shroud, 10% cooldown reduction and 12 mana per second. As I mentioned it a little bit earlier, that if they can survive the team burst, if they can survive all of that bang from Malphite, from Graves, from Morgana, that's their window of opportunity, those next few seconds to turn it around and commit and push everything they have onto one champion after another. Now that they've, you know, all the champions, they've all got cooldown reduction, they've all got mana coming back, it's just going to mean they get more abilities more often, and it's going to be even harder for CLANSEARCH to pick up kills. We do have a cluster setting up at the minute. The Chriso knows someone's there. He's landed a very good Q, but not going to follow it in. We're very much alone at this point in time. Crystallize splits up the team, but it was too close. Everybody's ultimates and abilities still would have hit, and they still would have hurt. So opting to fall backwards. And here comes the Shurellery's Best Dance activated as well. And all of that Best Dance, Shurelliers, move forward just for a ward. Let's keep a close eye on the champions at the minute. I think Udyr, he does have Flash available, so we may see another one of those Flash bear slaps. Move the screen up to the turret just a little bit and see when this team fight's going to go. Shag is now focusing on the turret. Look at the damage that's going down. Crystallize comes up, but it's a slightly awkward angle. And the damage landing onto Slop Drop just after a few critical hits from Graves is just immense. Immense damage. And look at that there. 20% of the Crusoe's hit points just from a Dark Binding. Dark Binding must be hitting even harder now. Morgana's got even more ability power. Sitting at around 840 damage per Dark Binding. And they come in. Another Bear Stance gives Udyr the speed boost he needs to close the distance. Turret goes down. Inhibitor goes down. Super Creeps are already bashing on the Nexus turrets. We have 2 champions with Guardian's Angel. So not only do they have to kill 5 champions of Omega, 2 of them come back to life for another round. 2 of them come back and they take more beatings to the face. Smokescreen comes out, so that blocks the vision. And very intelligent, they're putting the ward up as well. So that's a pretty cool, pretty nice little move. Now they're turning their attention. Vayne has been caught out. There's the flash base stun. A 3-man unstoppable force from Malphite is absolutely amazing in the background. Aurelia's being jumped on by 3 champions, finally moving forward. The first death is Lee Sin, and now they're turning their attention into the middle lane. Lee Sin dies. Aurelia dies after being caught up by 3 champions. Another inhibitor is going to be down, and this is GG. They're going to be able to turn their attention with the super creeps to the Nexus, and with Graves being there and having the Guardian's Angel as well. The only thing that got popped was a Guardian's Angel. And Nivea gets blown up in the background while Nexus is being beaten down. And that was a surrender vote. Really well played by Omega Gaming. Such a strong team fight phase. In the laning phase, it went a bit back and forth. It wasn't, 100% certain who was going to be winning it. But as soon as they committed to those team fights, as soon as all of those ultimates and those abilities clumped up together, just melted the German side of CLANSEARCH.